Welcome back. Described as a food desert, the Bronx has one of the highest rates of food insecurity in the country. In order to address this systemic issue in our community, the Urban Wild seeks to change food for good through agricultural technology and more. Joining us now to share more is Samia Lemfadli, CEO and founder of the Urban Wild. Welcome, Samia. It's so nice to have you back on BronxNet.
Hi, it's really great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're happy to have you to, discuss your initiative with the Urban Wild. So for those who are not familiar, can you tell us more about it and your mission?
Absolutely. So our mission, like we mentioned, is to change food for good. Our goal is really to make sustainable agricultural technologies more accessible to communities affected by food insecurity. How we're doing that is by fostering the next generation of urban farmers who will use technology to meet the food production demands of the future. So we provide free workforce development training. We provide free educational programming to young adults through schools and colleges. We then pipeline our alumni into job placements through our internships or through our employer partner network. And during the time of our job training course, we actually build out full-scale sustainable smart farms within community gardens, schools, things like that, so that we can have more accessible food systems within our community.
This sounds amazing. Thank you, Samia, for breaking that down for us. And for folks who may not be familiar, what exactly is agricultural technology, aka AgTech?
Yeah, so it's basically kind of the intersection of technology used specifically to advance agriculture or food systems. So this can look like just plain old technology in all honesty, but it's specifically applied to agriculture in our case. How we use agricultural technology oftentimes is to monitor the health of things using sensors, hardware systems that work in conjunction with applications. So we actually built our own tech product that we use with our students to give them a kind of introduction to what agricultural technology is and what it can do for our communities. So that's kind of the premier product, Plotbot, that we use with our students so that they can get tapped into that specific field. But there's multiple applications for agricultural technology, from drones to sensors to digital design mapping, things like that. So there's a lot of options on how to use technology to advance food systems. They're just often not really that available to community food systems. And so we're trying to make that accessible, affordable, and realized for our community specifically.
Thank you for that. And, as I mentioned earlier, the Bronx has experienced food insecurity even before the pandemic, but unfortunately, COVID-19 exacerbated the disparities in our community. How does the Urban Wild seek to find alternative solutions to this huge issue in our communities?
Yeah, exactly like you said. So we want to build an alternative food system altogether. I believe that we're not really focused on the coming challenges that we're going to have within food security in the future. I think a lot of what our food system is based on is consumerism and what can drive our bottom line, our dollar, our profit motive. And so what we look at is how can we build food security systems for communities? How would we build free food systems, embed them within schools, community gardens, CBOs, so that they can own, manage, and run these institutions with the help of the technology solutions that we build, with the help of the students that we train who are subsidized through our internship programming. So that way that these food systems can realistically take on the challenges that we see within our community for food scarcity and food insecurity. And ultimately, I believe that that model can be scaled so that we can have commercial food systems that actually supply folks with food security needs throughout the city and in other areas that are battling food insecurity.
Nice. So you do have some upcoming tech training. It's called AgTech training. Can you share more about what people can learn and who qualifies for this training?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about Intro to AgTech. We created this program as an interdisciplinary training to expose folks to agriculture, technology, and construction skills. So all three of them are needed in order to be able to build out sustainable smart farms using hydroponics, aquaponics, aeroponics. We want to make sure that folks are safe. So all in all, we end up providing about 150 hours of training just on technical skills. We're partnering with a really great institution, Strive New York, to be able to add on 40 hours of career development services and curriculum components. So that way you have the work of two different institutions that are helping you pathway yourself into your career. We're covering the cost of your OSHA 30 certification, which employers are now asking for, even in the agriculture sector. We teach folks on basic skills in coding and programming, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then the fundamentals of how to design, build, and maintain a hydroponic, aquaponic, or aeroponic system. We apply all of these skills in person by building out our sustainable food space within a community garden in the Bronx called El Coqui. So by the end of the summer, we're going to have a full-scale aquaponic farm system designed for food relief in partnership with Mission Helping Hands in the Bronx. And so at the end of this 190 hours of training, you're then eligible for job placement services. We match you to 3 to 6 months of employment through our internship that's paid, working at some of the leading farms and tech organizations and construction companies throughout New York City. And then outside of our internship, we continue matching you to jobs, opportunities, professional development, and support you in your career for up to 2 years. But all of this is designed essentially to expose you to 3 pathways: agriculture, technology, or construction, all 3 of which are growing within the sustainability field, and so that you can decide what career pathway you want to have and have a supportive network to see it through.
Sheesh, mic drop. Like, all these opportunities here in our local community, and I'm smiling from ear to ear because I know Mission Helping Hand and El Coqui, and I'm so happy that they're partnering with you to make this happen in our community. So, Samia, when we think about STEM, we often don't see people who look like us. You're a woman of color, the CEO of the Urban Wild, and I'm so proud that someone like you is running and operating this. How does the Urban Wild seek to diversify the STEM field, and why is it so important for you to make this happen, especially for our youth in the Bronx?
It's huge. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn and I did not have access to a lot of opportunities. I didn't end up getting to go to college or completing college. I had to work right out of the gate, out of high school. So I definitely understand that this kind of industry, non-traditional fields of employment for women, for gender non-binary individuals, for people of color, like STEM, like construction, like agriculture, they're not very often welcoming to folks with backgrounds like ours who come from really diverse backgrounds. And it's super important for multiple reasons. This country was built on the idea of bringing in diversity of thought and bringing in innovation and welcoming folks from all backgrounds so we can bring out the best in everyone, and use that to propel ourselves to be a really great nation together. And I feel as though there's been a lot of branding and marketing around being able to bring in and diversify our staffing. But there's not a lot of intention on how to keep staff that are coming from diverse backgrounds and things like that, and how to make sure that we have safe spaces that don't just value their identity, but value their diversity of thought, value their talents, value their innovative thinking. So it's really important that, especially with the challenges that we're facing in the coming years, that we have as much diversity of thought, as much innovative thinking, as much closeness and proximity to some of the issues that we're trying to solve, with the stakeholders that are in the room trying to solve it. If you're not familiar with the issue of food insecurity, you may not be the one that can solve it. And that's okay. We want to still bring folks that have the skills to be able to apply other ways. But I think having folks that have lived experience within some of these issues in our community is one of the key needs that we have in terms of innovating new solutions for it.
Yes, who better than us, right?
Yes.
So I also wanted to share with our viewers, I'm sure a lot of people have heard that President Joe Biden's infrastructure plan promises to assist underserved groups by allocating $100 billion in workforce development and growing industries such as clean energy, which we're talking about now, as well as allocating funds to rebuild the country's water infrastructure, for instance. What are your hopes with this plan? What does this mean for the Bronx and your organization as well, the Urban Wild?
I mean, I think it's a big step forward in terms of the narrative and the landscape of opportunities that's out there. I will say we are a young organization, so it's really difficult for young organizations often to tap into federal pathways for funding when it comes to kind of systems change ideology. So we have a few strategies that we work on to be able to address this. The first being that we partner with really great institutions that have long-standing histories like Strive, so that we can tap into resources that they're more ready to be able to tap into. So our partnerships are really crucial to us. We're always looking for new partners that can help us get to the next stage. So they've been a really great one to start. Second, we work very closely with various coalitions throughout the Bronx and Brooklyn, and even national coalitions that are positioned specifically to be able to have influence on policy changes, systemic change, implementing some of these workforce strategies for the future. And then third, we've been developing relationships with local elected officials throughout New York City and other spaces, so that we can have a better relationship and a better ability to advocate for the needs that we have as an institution. Ultimately, I think that a civilian climate corps is going to happen. And when it does, my hope is that our alumni are able to tap into a government-supported job pipeline that will ensure that their careers can grow in one or more of these fields.
Awesome. And you do have an upcoming information session that you want to share with our viewers. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that, Samia, and how people can register to find out more?
Absolutely. Not a problem. So Intro to AgTech, our third cohort is being hosted this summer starting July 19th. So if you're interested in the trainings that we've mentioned in agriculture, technology, construction, and their intersections and want to build out a smart farm space with us this summer, go to our Instagram at Change Food for Good. In the link in our bio, the first link is the registration link for our program. Our info session is being hosted tomorrow at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Again, this program is in partnership with Strive. You'll have a lot of resources, a lot of support to get you through the 10 weeks of training and then get you placed in a job right after. So again, check out our website at our Instagram at Change Food for Good, or go to our website, www.changefoodforgood.org, and click the first link that you see. It'll take you straight to our registration and hit the 30th of June so you can register for our info session.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Samia, for your time today. Before you go, just a quick message, for our youth who wants to get into the agricultural technology field but is not sure how to start. What can you tell our youth just about, getting started?
Yeah. I'll tell you, at least for me, when I got into the field of technology, I had no background, no experience. I want you to know that, one, it is not as complicated and as daunting as it may seem. Even if it's completely foreign to you, I want you to have the confidence to walk into the room and try. That's really the first step, is trying to get yourself exposed to what these skills look like, and really take your personal experience and bring it to this area. So if you have personal experiences where technology can solve a problem, personal experiences where agriculture or construction or the ability to build better solutions can solve that problem, bring that experience into the room.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Samia, for your time today and for sharing more about the Urban Wild. We can't wait to join you tomorrow for the info session on AgTech.
Thank you.
Samia Lemfadli is the CEO and founder of the Urban Wild. Again, you can follow them at Change Food for Good on Instagram and Facebook, the Urban Wild, and visit their website, changefoodforgood.org. Well, that's all for our show today. I'm your host, Sonyi Lopez, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. Stay safe. See you next time.